Political news? Former President Jimmy Carter dies at 100. Carter had been receiving hospice care since February 2023 at his home in Plains, Georgia, where he lived with his wife of 77 years, Rosalind Carter. Former President Jimmy Carter, the 39th President of the United States who dedicated his life after leaving office to brokering international peace, has died at age 100, his office confirmed Sunday. Carter had been receiving hospice care since February 2023 at his home in Plains, Georgia, where he lived with his wife of 77 years, Rosalind Carter. The former First Lady, 96, died on November 19, 2023. Carter was the first U.S. president to reach their 100th birthday. In October 2024, for Carter's 100th birthday, President Joe Biden recognized him in a direct-to-camera birthday message saying, "Mr. President, you've always been a moral force for our nation and the world. I recognize that as a young senator. That's why I supported you so early. You're a voice of courage, conviction, compassion, and most of all, a beloved friend of Jill and me and our family." A Georgia native and a Democrat, Carter was elected president in 1976, defeating the Republican incumbent, Gerald Ford, in the aftermath of the Watergate scandal. Carter served one term before losing re-election in 1980 to Ronald Reagan, his bid hobbled by an inability to resolve the Iran hostage crisis, a standoff that lasted 444 days. Carter also was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002 for his human rights work around the world. The oldest living former president after the death of George H.W. Bush in 2018 at 94, Carter was the first American president to have been born in a hospital. Only 56 years old when he left the Oval Office, Carter would spend the next 4 decades focusing on good works that made him an almost universally revered figure, sometimes called America's greatest ex-president, a sharp contrast to his relatively low popularity when he exited the White House in January 1981. For years, he and his wife could be found on construction sites, hoisting beams and pounding nails to build homes for the disadvantaged with the non-profit organization Habitat for Humanity. Around the world, Carter was recognized after his presidency for his tireless work promoting peaceful resolutions to conflict and advancing democracy, human rights, and social justice, primarily through the Carter Center, which he and the former First Lady established at Emory University in Atlanta in 1982. Working through the center, the Carters traveled to developing countries to monitor elections, help build democratic institutions, lobby for victims of human rights abuses, and spearhead efforts to eradicate diseases. In February 1986, Carter secured the release of the journalist Luis Mora and the labor leader José Altamirano from prison in Nicaragua. In 1994, he traveled to North Korea at the request of then-President Bill Clinton, and soon announced the negotiation of a treaty of understanding with the then leader of North Korea, Kim Il-sung. Clinton and his wife, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, shared a statement on Carter's death Sunday afternoon, commemorating Carter's commitment to civil rights, environmental conservation, and his efforts to broker peace internationally. Hillary and I mourn the passing of President Jimmy Carter and give thanks for his long, good life. Guided by his faith, President Carter lived to serve others, until the very end, they wrote. Hillary and I met President Carter in 1975 and were proud early supporters of his presidential campaign. I will always be proud to have presented the Medal of Freedom to him and Rosalind in 1999, and to have worked with him in the years after he left the White House. Carter was also credited with having helped to persuade Egypt and Tunisia to ease violence in the Great Lakes region of Africa in 1996, and he helped to negotiate the Nairobi Agreement to end the war between Sudan and Uganda in northern Uganda in 1999. In 2002, Carter was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his decades of untiring effort to find peaceful solutions to international conflicts and his outstanding commitment to human rights. For Carter, the award was something of a mark of rehabilitation after a presidency that ended with one of the lowest public approval ratings on record, averaging just 45.5% over his single term in office, according to Gallup. As president, significant successes and notable failures. In 1978, President Carter brokered the Camp David Accords, a historic peace treaty between Israel and Egypt. The deal, which capped 16 months of negotiations, led to Egyptian President Anwar Sadat and Israeli Prime Minister Menachem begin winning the Nobel Peace Prize in 1978. Many historians also credit the Carter administration with having been at the forefront of events that led to the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991. Carter and his hardline national security advisor, Zbigniew Brzezinski, used human rights to put Moscow on the ideological defensive, and their forceful support for Lech Wałęsa's solidarity movement in Poland helped to fuel a revolutionary wave in Eastern Europe that eventually sparked the fall of communism. Will be that for now, as we encourage you to subscribe to our channel by hitting that button so you can receive instant notification on current and latest news around the world as soon as we post them. Thank you for watching.